Okay, let's start this deep dive. Maybe not in a boardroom, but think about a quiet kitchen. It's late, like 8:47 p.m. Sarah's sitting there, laptop open, still answering Slack messages.
Right.
Her team went fully remote maybe 3 months ago, and since then, her boundaries have just completely vanished.
Hmm.
She's working way later than she ever did before, and she tells herself, oh, it's productivity, you know? But deep down, she knows this whole lifestyle is kind of quietly eating away at everything she used to care about.
Yeah, her time with family, her own standard.
Exactly, her sense of who she even is.
That anecdote from the original essay we're looking at,
Yeah.
it really nails the core issue, doesn't it?
It totally does. And that's our mission here, really, to understand these like invisible currents that are constantly shaping your choices, your standards, what you even think is possible.
Yeah.
We think we're in charge, steering our own ship based on our own plans and motivations, but well, often we're just drifting. We end up somewhere we never actually chose.
And the goal is to figure out how you can grab the rudder back.
Right. Yes. How you take back control.
What's really striking, I think, from the essay's analysis, is that these forces, they aren't always, bad or intentionally manipulative. They're just the programming of your environment.
Okay.
And the first big one that kind of quietly steers us is what the original essay calls the opinion trap.
The opinion trap, right.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You're constantly swimming in what other people think. It's your Twitter feed, LinkedIn, newsletters, those throwaway comments from coworkers.
Podcasts even.
Podcasts, exactly. And this huge volume of input, it just sort of quietly programs your brain. You end up holding ideas you haven't really wrestled with yourself.
We just assume, don't we, that if someone shares an opinion, especially if they sound confident, that they've really thought it through rigorously.
But the essay makes this really strong counterpoint. Most of the time, for most people, opinions are actually just social signals. They're not about careful thought.
Social signals, meaning...
Meaning things like remote work is the future, or you absolutely have to be thinking bigger, or using some complex jargon that just sounds smart. The person saying it is often just playing a status game.
Ah, okay.
They're signaling that they belong to a certain group, a smart-sounding crowd. It's not really about insight. They might not even take their own advice half the time.
So that sets up this really weird feedback loop.
Totally insidious, yeah.
Ideas that just sound smart, even if they're totally useless in your context or way too complicated, they spread like wildfire. Why? Because sharing them gives the sharer a little dopamine hit, makes them feel smart.
Right. It's high reward, very low effort. You just repeat the smart-sounding thing.
And this explains why the boring truths get ignored, doesn't it?
Completely. Because nobody gets likes or retweets for saying something dull but true. Like, most success actually comes from just doing simple things consistently for like 5 years.
Or your environment, the structure of your day probably matters way more than waiting for some big burst of motivation.
Exactly. Those things require actual effort, sustained work, and there's zero immediate social reward. It's not flashy.
So the challenge for you, the listener, is to really audit your own strong opinions. Like, be honest. Did that idea come from your own hard-won experience, or did you kind of absorb it from somewhere?
From Twitter, from a meeting.
Yeah, and then you found reasons later to justify why it's your belief.
That internal check really separates the thinker from the parrot, as the essay implies.
Okay, so if the opinion trap messes with what we think, the next force is about what we tolerate. It's this intense social pressure to lower our standards.
And the original essay puts it really bluntly on this. Having high standards makes you lonely.
Oof.
That loneliness, that's the hidden cost, the one that compounds over time. When you consistently refuse to just accept good enough, maybe in your work or relationships or even just how you keep your space.
You end up standing apart.
You do. And socially, you get branded. Your friends might say you're being picky or too intense. Colleagues might think you're difficult. Family might just say you're overthinking it all.
And the pressure to just give in, to just say, fine, whatever, and go along with the crowd, it's huge.
Oh, absolutely. Because conforming is safe, it's comfortable. If everyone else is compromising, you've got a built-in excuse for doing it too. You can all agree that good enough is, good enough.
So most people eventually cave.
They do. They start telling themselves their high standards were actually unrealistic, maybe even arrogant. And they find little communities, online or offline, that reinforce that idea. Yeah, those standards were holding you back.
But the essay argues there's a deep internal consequence to that compromise.
Exactly. It creates this gap, a gap between what you know you're capable of and what you're actually doing day to day. And that internal conflict, that's what starts to erode your sense of integrity, your peace of mind.
So the people who do manage to maintain high standards, the essay suggests they aren't just naturally disciplined superheroes.
No, not at all. It's more about their tolerance for the discomfort of being different, of being the odd one out,
They make a trade-off.
pretty much. They might trade a large, easy social circle for what the essay calls a bigger sense of possibility. They refuse to pretend mediocrity is fine, because they know that's the only way to actually achieve something excellent.
Okay, let's connect that idea of compromise or resisting compromise to the next invisible force. This one often trips up people who do have high standards but maybe don't know where to direct them. It's this obsession with revolutionary ideas.
Ah, yes, the 0 to 1 distraction.
We hear it all the time, right? Create something totally new, build the next big disruptive thing, and it sounds great, like pure ambition.
It sounds necessary, even. But the essay argues that for most people, this focus is actually quite harmful.
Harmful how?
Because the fantasy of the huge world-changing breakthrough, it blinds them. It stops them from seeing the perfectly good, often kind of boring, opportunities sitting right in front of them.
They're waiting for lightning to strike.
Exactly. Spending all their energy looking for some completely novel path, when the real path to success is often much more mundane. It's right there.
Wait a minute, though. Isn't chasing the next big thing what drives innovation? Are you saying ambition itself is the problem?
No, not ambition. It's the focus of the ambition. The reality, according to the analysis, is that most successful businesses, most successful careers,
Mm-hmm.
they're evolutionary, not revolutionary.
Evolutionary, meaning?
Meaning success usually looks like somebody taking something that already exists, a product, a service, maybe something quite ordinary, and just making it work better,
Oh, okay.
making it faster or cheaper, or serving a group that everyone else was ignoring, or maybe taking an idea that works really well in, say, hospitality and applying it cleverly to healthcare. These aren't giant leaps from 0 to 1. They're more like 0 to 0.1 improvements,
So the power move is actually to stop waiting for that earth-shattering 0 to 1 moment.
pretty much. And instead, look for that 0 to 0.1 opportunity, the unsexy work, making ordinary things incrementally better.
That's where the real value often gets created, isn't it? Because maybe the competition is too busy chasing the next unicorn to bother with just doing the basics really, really well.
Precisely. Which brings us nicely to the fourth invisible force. And this one might be the most powerful of all, the environment.
Right, the essay states it very clearly. Your environment is making a good chunk of your decisions for you.
It's a huge claim, but when you break it down,
How does it actually do that? How does our environment program us so effectively?
it's through constant, subtle conditioning. It's not usually one big thing. Think about the books you leave out on your coffee table. They kind of nudge your thoughts. The people you consistently grab lunch with. They subtly define what feels possible or normal in your career.
Even your workspace layout.
Totally.
Mm.
Does it encourage focus, or does it make it easy to get distracted? The most dangerous part, though, is how much we underestimate this. Most people genuinely believe their willpower, their motivation, can just override a bad setup.
That's the classic trap, isn't it? We rely on sheer intention. I intend to eat healthy. I intend to finish that project.
But the reality check from the essay is, environment beats intention almost every time.
So if your kitchen is full of junk food cues,
You'll probably eat the junk food, eventually. If your social circle constantly signals low ambition or complaining, you'll likely drift towards that baseline yourself. It's just gravity.
so the solution isn't just trying harder, gritting your teeth more.
No, the essay argues it's about smarter design. You have to actively change the environment so it supports the person you want to become.
What does that look like practically?
It could be anything, really. Deleting distracting apps, physically moving your desk, curating who you spend time with, surrounding yourself with people who are already operating at the standard you aspire to.
It's not cheating, it's just acknowledging how humans actually work.
Exactly. Using design as a lever instead of just relying on willpower, which is often unreliable.
Okay, let's bring this all back around. Let's loop back to Sarah from the start to talk about the fifth force, the remote work illusion and how boundaries get eroded.
Right. Remote work came with this big promise of flexibility and freedom.
But the twist, according to the essay, is that often the flexibility benefited the employer more. It gave them constant access to the employee.
Uh-huh. Work could suddenly colonize everything else, as the essay puts it.
Because the physical separation was gone.
Precisely. And those productivity gains everyone celebrated. The analysis suggests they weren't always because people were working smarter or more efficiently. Often it was simply because they were working more hours.
Like Sarah answering Slacks at nearly 9 p.m.
Exactly. The employer got extended access, maybe lower office costs. The employee often lost the clear lines, the spatial and time boundaries that used to protect their personal life.
And thinking about the other forces we discussed, this remote setup can actually accelerate those problems, can't it?
It really can. The isolation that can come with poorly managed remote work makes you more reliant on digital inputs, feeds, comments, online opinions, so you're even more susceptible to that opinion trap, less likely to form your own grounded thoughts.
And the environment piece.
Huge. When your office is your bedroom or your living room doubles as your meeting space, you lose all those subtle environmental cues that help you switch modes and maintain different standards for different parts of your life.
That commute we used to complain about.
Yeah, turns out it actually served a purpose. It was a hard break, a reset between work mode and home mode. Without it, you need immense intentionality to build those boundaries yourself. Otherwise, you just drift.
Intentionality, that really feels like the invisible thread connecting all 5 of these forces, doesn't it?
It really does.
Absorbing opinions uncritically, letting standards slide, chasing those big 0 to 1 fantasies, letting the environment dictate terms, having boundaries dissolve. It all stems from a lack of active, conscious intention.
Which results in that kind of drift, as the essay calls it. You look up one day and realize you've ended up somewhere you never actually chose to be.
So, pulling it all together, what's the path forward? How do you actually take back control? The essay seems to suggest a few key steps.
Yeah, it synthesizes into about 5 core actions, and they're ongoing practices, not one-time fixes. First, you have to start with design. Actively shape your environment. Don't let it shape you by default.
Okay, design the environment first. Then what?
Second, audit your inputs rigorously. Question the ideas you absorb. Test them against reality. Make an effort to form opinions based on actual experience, your own data, not just what sounds smart.
Right. Then third, this one sounds tough.
It is. Third is consciously deciding to raise your standards again, or maintain them if you already have them. And crucially, developing the emotional tolerance for the loneliness or misunderstanding that might come with that.
Accepting that discomfort is the price of protecting your potential.
That's the idea. Fourth, let go of the paralyzing fantasy of the 0 to 1 miracle. Focus your energy instead on the persistent, often unglamorous work of those 0 to 0.1 evolutionary improvements. That's where consistent value is built.
Find the boring opportunity and make it excellent.
You got it. And finally, fifth, create and defend protective boundaries, especially in these blended contexts like remote work. Use your environment, use time blocks, use whatever cues you need as hard stops.
Because control isn't something you achieve once.
No, it's a constant practice. It's about staying awake to these powerful currents that are always pushing you around.
So the final thought for you, the listener, is really this. You don't have to be swept away by these invisible forces. But the only way to actually choose your direction is to remain constantly aware of them. That awareness, paired with intentional design, that's your path to real choice, genuine control.